Okay, have you ever actually stopped to think about just how incredibly complicated your own body is? I mean, really think about it. Here is a staggering fact to kind of hook you right from the start. The human body is made up of over 200 different cell types. 200! You've got skin cells, heart cells, brain cells, bone cells, all of them performing entirely different, highly specialized jobs. But here's the absolute best part, the real secret here. All of that mind-blowing complexity is remarkably built from just 4 primary tissues. Just 4. So let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to be treating the human body's complex, microscopic anatomy just like an architect's blueprint. Because, once you understand the foundational materials that build us, the massive, staggering complexity of human biology suddenly becomes this elegant, highly organized structure that actually makes perfect sense.
Here is our roadmap for today. First up, the origin of tissues. Then, we're going to break down the big 4. Epithelial, which are the body's barriers, connective, our scaffolding, muscular, the movers, and nervous, the wiring.
All right, let's jump right into section 1. The origin of tissues, going from just 2 cells to trillions. Human architecture starts out incredibly simply. It literally begins when a male sperm cell unites with a female egg cell. This union creates one single fertilized cell, which we call a zygote. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but the entirety of that complex human blueprint we were just talking about, it starts right here, at this tiny microscopic intersection. Immediately after that fertilized zygote forms, this rapid-fire process of cell multiplication kicks off. 2 cells become 4, 4 become 8, and it keeps going until they form a hollow ball of cells called a blastula. From there, the cells reorganize into a sort of hollow horseshoe-shaped structure called a gastrula. And finally, we arrive at the formation of the embryo itself. This simple, step-by-step multiplication is literally the foundation of every single structure in your body. Now, what's really fascinating is what happens on the embryo itself. It develops 3 primary cell layers, which we call germ layers. Humans are what biologists call triple-blastic, meaning we're derived from 3 layers. You've got the endoderm on the inside, the mesoderm in the middle, and the ectoderm on the outside. You can think of these 3 layers as the ultimate stem cells of the human body. They're solely responsible for generating absolutely every single tissue and organ you possess. Moving on to section 2, epithelial, the body's barriers. This is our siding and drywall. So, if we're building a house, think of epithelial tissue as the siding on the outside and the drywall lining the inside. By definition, it covers and lines exposed surfaces in the body. It acts as a physical barrier to protect you, for sure, but it also regulates what comes in and out, and it produces secretions through glands, like sweat and oil. And because it's constantly exposed to wear and tear, it has this massive capacity to regenerate. It's basically constantly replacing itself just to keep your physical barriers intact. We generally classify this drywall into 2 categories based on how many layers it has. Simple epithelium is just a single layer of cells. It's super thin, specifically designed for permeability, so substances can easily pass through it, like oxygen in your lungs, for instance. On the flip side, stratified epithelium has multiple layers. It's built for heavy-duty protection. Think about the calluses on a guitar player's fingertips. That thick, hardened skin is a protective response from stratified epithelium layering up against repeated stress. When you look under a microscope, you really see how shape dictates function. Take simple squamous epithelium from a kidney, for example. The cells are incredibly flat, squashed, and they look almost exactly like floor tiles, which is perfect for allowing the quick exchange of materials. Contrast that with simple cuboidal epithelium from a thyroid gland. These cells are very blocky and cube-shaped, perfectly suited for secreting hormones. All right, section 3, connective, scaffolding, and support, the framing and plumbing. If epithelial tissue is our drywall, connective tissue is the internal framing and the plumbing. It binds and supports everything else. Crucially, though, it's also your body's ultimate fallback material for healing. If another tissue gets severely injured and just cannot regenerate, your body fills the gap with connective tissue. It backfills the injury with these tough collagen fibers. And guess what? That is exactly what creates a scar. It's literally nature's emergency patch kit. What's wildest about connective tissue, though, is the sheer variety of it. It stretches from the areolar and adipose tissue, which is what stores your body fat, all the way to dense regular tissue, like your tendons and ligaments. It even includes fluid connective tissues, like the plasma transporting your blood, and supporting tissues, like the hard mineralized matrix of your bones. It's just an incredibly versatile building material. Let's zoom in on one specific type of connective tissue, cartilage. We actually have 3 distinct types. First is hyaline cartilage. It's glassy, but it's the weakest.
You'll find it in your nose and your ribs. Then you have fibrocartilage, which is packed with these thick, dense collagen bundles, making it the absolute strongest cartilage in your body. It's perfectly placed as the shock absorbers in your spinal discs. And finally, elastic cartilage, which contains a thread-like network of rubbery fibers. Actually, if you reach up and wiggle your outer ear right now, yeah, you are feeling elastic cartilage in action.
Moving right along to Section 4, muscular, the movers. These are the moving parts and doors of our house. Okay, so we have the walls and the framing. Now we need the machinery. The function of muscular tissue is wonderfully straightforward. It consists of cells designed to do one primary thing: contract. By contracting, they create motion. And that could be moving your entire skeleton across a room, or it could be something as subtle as just pumping blood through your veins.
Now, medical students often use bizarre mnemonics to make complex terminology stick, and this is an absolute classic. See the little skeleton puppet? That reminds us that skeletal muscles are tied to the skeleton. Then look at the sumo wrestler who is literally a tick, a sumo tick. That stands for the somatic nervous system, which controls voluntary movement. And check out the genie coming out of the mayonnaise jar, the Mayo genie. That represents myogenic activity, meaning certain muscles, like your heart, can automatically generate their own electrical action potentials without needing any signal from the brain. How cool is that?
Let's formalize what that ridiculous mnemonic just taught us. Skeletal muscle is voluntary. You actively decide to move it. It's also heavily striped or striated under a microscope. Conversely, your cardiac muscle in your heart and the smooth muscle lining your digestive tract are involuntary. They operate totally on autopilot. Thanks to that myogenic activity, they can rhythmically contract entirely on their own. Another really fascinating difference is in the nuclei of these cells. Skeletal muscle cells have to juggle really heavy loads and coordinate massive fibers, so they are multinucleate. Basically, they have many nuclei per cell to ensure a uniform contraction. Meanwhile, cardiac and smooth muscle cells generally operate just fine with a single, ununiform center of command.
And finally, Section 5, nervous, the wiring, the body's electrical systems.
Every great piece of architecture needs a solid electrical system, right? Well, your body is no exception. Nervous tissue acts as your body's main communication hub. It provides an incredibly fast transfer of information, allowing your brain to process data and communicate instantaneously with the rest of your structure.
This electrical system essentially relies on two distinct cell populations. First, you have the stars of the show, the neurons. These are the large cells that actually fire the electrical signals down their long axons. But neurons are fragile, so they really need the second population, the neuroglial cells. Think of neuroglia as the dedicated support crew. They don't send electrical signals themselves. Instead, they protect, insulate, and maintain the whole environment so the neurons can do their critical work safely. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, tracing the core blueprint of human life. So I want to leave you with a question to ponder. Your body contains over 200 cell types built entirely from just these 4 primary tissues. Which one do you think is working the absolute hardest right now to make sense of everything you just learned in this explainer?
It's highly likely your nervous tissue firing neurons right now, right? But remember, it's supported by the blood from your connective tissue, it's held in place by your skeletal muscles, and it's protected by your epithelial skin. It is just an awe-inspiring fact that all human complexity, every single thought, every movement, every breath, arises from such a beautifully simple, foundational 4-part blueprint. Keep exploring, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.